大家好，我是秦苏珊律师。那我呢，今天跟我们的律师团队去讨论一下最近洛杉矶发生的动乱。大家都知道这几天很多人都在洛杉矶的 downtown 就是游行，那有很多就是 National Guard， 还有呢就是现在听说那个 Marine 也被那个川普调过来了，那到处都是军车。军队的，那很多人就很害怕，就说那如果说我没有身份，或者我有身份，但我不是美国公民，我会不会抓进去？所以呢，我现在就会跟我们的就是律师团队讨论一下这个问题。Hey, good morning, Judge Ham and Craig.
Morning. Good morning.
So yesterday I was at the USCIS. There were a lot of protests. There was National Guards, a lot of LAPDs there. People are very scared. Our law firm has been getting a lot of calls from people. Like particularly yesterday, this client said, "Hey, I'm a waiter at a restaurant. My home from the restaurant is about 3 minutes, but even 3 minutes, I am scared because I'm worried if I drive from my home to the restaurant, I might get stopped by the police and get arrested, and then what's going to happen to my wife and to my daughter." So Judge Ham, with this kind of fear looming around, a lot of people are scared of going to work. So with this current political climate, can you tell us why is this happening? Like what's going on? Why in California?
First, it's the current administration's drive to make good on its political promise during this administration to arrest and deport people from the United States. Now, they're not concerned about the niceties of it, and they're going about projecting a political picture that there are criminals running all over the United States, particularly in sanctuary cities like Los Angeles and in the state of California. I believe California was targeted specifically because of its high concentration of Latino individuals in the Paramount area. The ICE was able to seek and arrest day workers at that Home Depot, which has turned out to be the flashpoint for these demonstrations. That the current administration is trying to embarrass the sanctuary cities, as well as Governor Newsom of California, who has specifically spoken out against the Trump administration and has specifically set aside monies for lawsuits in terms of challenging the current administration's policies. So I think that's what drives it. But we also had the same incident here in New York the last 2 days, in which demonstrations took place in front of Trump Tower and downtown in front of the federal court and the immigration authority. I heard that Boston and other cities like Chicago were also affected. And you can see that it's all these sanctuary cities that the current administration is focusing on.
So right now with the anxiety, the fear, so Craig, do you think it's really necessary for President Trump to send the Marines, the National Guards, all the troops to LA? Also in the news, I guess President Trump also said, even the governor, the mayor of Los Angeles can get arrested if they stand in the way of allowing the federal troops coming into the city. So can the governor and the mayor really get arrested if they stand in the way?
So, the governors, California's already filed a lawsuit, against the Trump administration because normally, in order to activate the National Guard, you need the governor's consent. So this is very, very rare and unusual and completely unnecessary. The Trump administration thrives on chaos. I think they intentionally diverted resources from targeting actual criminals to individuals who are just trying to work and provide for their families because they thrive on the chaos. They wanted to spark outrage. And I think the administration was dealing with the Musk-Trump feud, and now all the media is talking about is this, and they wanted to get people riled up. They actually love the riots because they can blame Democrats for being soft on crime, and it's becoming a big political issue right now. And yes, they're actually they're threatening a sitting governor of California right now, which is again unheard of. So, the governor is going to do what he can, legally, through the court system to stop this. But, the administration has made no secret that anyone who tries to harbor or protect someone who's in the country illegally, they are going to go after them. They're going to punish them. They went after judges, simply for, letting someone, through the back entrance. So this administration has no shame when it comes to targeting individuals they see as a threat to their goals of removing everyone. And I am very concerned that there are going to be more random ICE raids targeting workers, but I don't think people should be concerned. But I don't think you need to hide. Continue going about your life. A lot of these is just purely for optic purposes. That's why they're targeting Home Depot, is because they were able to generate a lot of anger from that. But I do encourage everyone to be peaceful don't participate in any acts of violence or vandalism, because that's just going to make matters so much worse. But continue living your life, but just be mindful that but just be careful. It is going to be very, very challenging times for the foreseeable future.
Right. Definitely, we don't want to, like this particular client that called me yesterday, I don't want his 3-minute drive become the longest drive, because every day he gets in his car, he's struggling, and in fear of going to work and worried, is this the day that I'm going to get arrested? But
I will note that, ICE is not really going to be pulling random people over on their drives. They're going to go to targeted locations where they suspect, a large concentration of migrant workers to be. So, I would advise this client, he doesn't need to worry about his 3-minute drive just being randomly pulled over, because again, in order for you to be pulled over on the road, you need probable cause to pull someone over on the road. So long as you're following all the traffic laws, he shouldn't have any problem getting from point A to point B in that 3-minute commute.
And yesterday, I was at the USCIS. Yes, the entire city, especially in downtown LA, there's a lot of graffitis and vandalism. A lot of stores were looted. And you're right. So I guess, what's your advice for people? Should they go join the protest, or should they just stay at home, or what should they do?
Peaceful protest is a cornerstone of our democracy. So I encourage anyone who wants to participate in peaceful protest. That's how you impact change. That's how we demonstrate frustration with the government's policies. So absolutely feel free to participate, but participate peacefully. And also be mindful there'll be agitators trying to rile up the crowd, try to instigate the crowd, because they want to provoke chaos. They want people to react and attack the police, because they can talk about it in the press. About see, this is to justify their actions. So we don't want to give them any justification for their actions, because the American public is against these random raids targeting workers. They voted to target criminal immigrants, and entering this country illegally is a civil violation, not a criminal violation. And you're still afforded due process rights, and you shouldn't be subject to random ICE raids at your employment. But I think the tide will eventually turn when the public sentiment changes. But I think this is all just a big distraction right now from the administration.
So I know this whole protest then started with Home Depot's allowed feds to go into their premise to arrest the people. I know in the past, so the business establishment, if they don't allow feds to go onto their premise to arrest people, then they can't arrest people there. There's always a lot of day laborers at Home Depot, outside of Home Depot. So let's say if the feds come to arrest them, they can go inside Home Depot. So that becomes a shelter that they don't get arrested. But the last 2 weeks, my understanding is that the owners of the business gave consent to the federal government. So that way, the feds can go into the Home Depot, Target to arrest the people. So can the owners, the business establishment owners, refuse to allow feds to go on their premise to arrest the people? Why do they give consent to have those people arrested?
Because the federal government is not making the argument. If you're harboring illegal workers, you'll be subject to prosecution. So, I'm sure the government threatened Home Depot, hey, we will prosecute you unless you let us in. And, unfortunately, Home Depot capitulated and caved into those threats. Normally, that wouldn't be the case. But this administration is taking a very hard tactic. This administration is going after Harvard. It's going, they're not afraid to go after people. They're going after law firms. So they've clearly established a pattern of going after reputable companies and businesses and education to fulfill their goals of deportation. So you don't have to offer consent at all. That's again a constitutional right. You don't have to offer consent, but unfortunately, I think some of these businesses are probably afraid of retaliation from the government if they don't comply.
Exactly. That's the fear that's going on right now, because people are afraid of go to the public places, especially now President Trump threatens to arrest Governor Newsom and the mayor of LA. So when the general public, when they hear, even the governor of California or the mayor are at risk of being arrested. So they're scared of going to, restaurants or shopping places. So Judge Hom, is it constitutional, or can anybody challenge going to business establishment to arrest people?
Yeah, well, there's two facets here. First, individuals themselves do not have to consent to any or answer any questions by any ICE agent. They can remain silent They can insist to remain silent on advice of either counsel or their Fifth Amendment right. Businesses also have the constitutional right to prevent law enforcement onto the premises to arrest. But as Craig has said, I'm sure the federal government is using as much persuasive argument that it can that they would find such a obstacle or such a roadblock by the employer as a means of harboring individuals. But the question is how does the owner of the premises know that these individuals are, undocumented, illegal, or should not be on the premises to begin with? But it's open to the public, and the owner can say, I'm not allowing people to be arrested on my premises. So if it happened, I can't alleviate the fear and anxiety that's happening to individuals as a result of the current administration's optics to try and scare people, intimidate people, both citizens and non-citizens. And this administration has done so frequently, as we have read in the newspapers. They have arrested citizens, they have arrested permanent residents, they have arrested anybody and everybody for whatever reason that they feel is justified for the arrest. They even arrested and deported somebody, and then they admitted it was wrong, brought him back, and now they're trying to prosecute him for something else. Again, retribution. But I can't alleviate the fear and anxiety that people have. What I can do is tell them what rights they do have. And if they call into your office, or if they come to your office, I will provide for the office to give out the new Los Angeles Times article that talks about what rights such individuals have in the United States, whether citizens or non-citizens. And this was, it's something that they can keep on them and to show, even if they don't speak the language, to show ICE what their constitutional rights are.
That's good advice. If you can send me the article, I will definitely post that on social media. So that way more people will have access to those information and then protect themselves. 那刚才呢，我跟我们的洪法官还有就是快给我们讨论了一下，就是洛杉矶这几天的近况。那很多人都打电话过来说，那我从我家里开车到我上班的地方就这么几分钟，我很害怕我会被抓起来，或者有的人压根就说我不敢出门了，因为现在很混乱，然后呢我也不知道我会不会被 ICE 抓进去。那刚才 Craig 也讲了，就说你其实不用太担心，如果说你有合法的身份，所谓的合法的身份，比方说你是庇护，你现在已经申请了公卡，你庇护在等待中，那你是可以合法待在这里的。那还有任何时候，假如说你在你的车里，你在开车的时候，警察如果要 pull over 的话呢，就是说他是需要有 probable cause， 也就是说要有正当合法的理由，他才能把你 pull over 然后呢再检查你的身份，那这个时候他才能抓你。那刚才呢洪法官也讲了，就是说在 Home Depot 或者在 Target， 就是说那前段时间呢，是因为这些店的老板同意，联邦的人可以进到他店里面去抓人。那这种情况就是说，老板他可不可以拒绝联邦，就是不让联邦的人到他店里面去抓人？那这个的话呢，其实也是可以的，就是老板其实是有就是宪法的权利去拒绝。但是呢，有的时候他们会受到政府的一些压力、恐吓、威胁。那政府的人可能就会说你作为比方说是 Home Depot 的老板，如果说有很多非法的人，那这些人都逃到你店里面的话呢，那你就是属于就是说就是你的这边变成了一个保护区。那这样子的话呢，你是违法的，那我们就要就是把你的这个店给关了。所以有的时候呢，这些老板他也在就是不想损失自己的生意的情况下呢，就同意让联邦的人进去抓人。所以就说很多时候，那我们还是需要自己就是去保护好自己的身份。那在公共场合的话呢，就说尽量就是能把你的文件都带在身上，证明你是有合法身份的。所以就说在这个不确定的时期的话呢，如果说你们对自己的身份会对自己的安全有疑问的话呢，我建议你打电话给秦苏珊律师楼做一个详细的咨询，就是了解一下你现在的情况。那有专业的律师呢，帮你去分析你现在的状况是否安全。